Hello and welcome. This is Jen Allward from Hope and Healing at Home, and I'm excited today to be bringing an art process video to the virtual grief symposium, Grief to Purpose 2020, Navigating Emotions. So a while back, Christina and I were talking and brainstorming about things that we could do to make this year's symposium even more special than last year's. And one was to, in addition to talking about art therapy, I would do a little teaser video of me making some personal artwork around grief. And anyone who signs up and for the symposium will be put in a drawing for a chance to win their own personal art. And I will make that in the next couple months and mail it off to whoever the lucky winner is. So I'm excited to find out who that will be. I'm also excited today to be beginning this process for myself and creating this piece of artwork for a dear family friend. Grandma Marian recently died, and I wanted to send her daughter something special in the mail because it was a very long process for her, and it's very hard to lose her mother. And I found this great picture of her that shows her attitude and brings back to mind tons of memories. And I'll just quickly walk you through the steps that I am probably going to take, and later there will be a write-up that I will detail the steps and put some questions in there for processing and other helpful things. I'll also be doing some Facebook Lives on this process if you want to catch this more in depth and try it out yourself. So first you find the picture of your loved ones. Then you're going to want to make some color copies or some black and white copies of it. And you can either tape it on a window, or if you like to sketch, spend the time sketching. That could be very helpful to some people. I have a light box. So what I will do is put the picture down, probably tape it down, probably tape the card on top of it so that nothing moves, and turn the light box on and trace it real quick with a simple pencil. The reason I'm tracing instead of sketching is because I just want to get into creating the other layers of this project. And one is going to be writing about my memories with Grandma Marian, and probably using a pen to take those memories and write them into the card as one of the layers to this piece. I will also probably be using charcoal and blending tools to add some more shading and dimension. Collage is very likely going to be part of this. I plan to have it be part of this piece, and it's fall out and there's lots of great leaves, and I saw this amazing one and pressed it. And the reason that I want to be able to use this leaf, or maybe this punch out of a leaf, is because I've got some real special memories with Marian and leaf collections. So I want to be able to incorporate that into the art piece today. Other things that I love using are texture paste or indoor spray paints. These are water-based, so they can be used inside with stencils. I also love using the Neo Color water-soluble crayons. If I do any collaging, the matte gel or some type of glue medium will be used. Before I add any water layers, I'm going to want to use a workable fixative to solidify the charcoal. And then final layers would include oil and acrylic paints in that reverse order. You'd want to use acrylic before it. Oils will be the very final layer on this. Other supplies you might want to have on hand would be a palette knife for applying the texture paste, or if you want to add some paint with a palette knife, you can also do that. And so the very, very final layer, after it dries and a day or so before I put it in the mail, will be to varnish it with a spray varnish. So I'm very excited to see how this piece develops to really create something special in memory of Marian, and to send that off to her daughter, hopefully to encourage her as she continues to process her grief and readjust to life without her mom. And I hope that this can also be an encouragement to you to creatively process your grief and really focus on cementing some really precious moments that you have with your loved one that's no longer with you. So thanks for joining me. Please pop over to my website or my Facebook site and let me know if you have questions on this process or if you've created anything in response to this and how it has helped you process your grief. Thanks for watching. I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to watching this develop and seeing who the lucky winner of their own piece of art is going to be for the Grief Symposium. Here are the supplies that I actually used to make this card. To begin with, I get the light box turned on and the photocopy arranged on the front of the card the way I liked it, and began tracing it with a regular pencil. Then I go back to the reference photo to fill in a couple extra details that weren't on the photocopy. And then I take an eraser and erase most of the pencil lines, so I have just the faintest of tracings of her image. This part got really emotional for me because it was like she was dying and disappearing from my life again. Here I am brainstorming memories of Grandma Marian, and some of those memories triggered other memories, and so I kept filling in the gaps until I felt like I had a really solid amount of writing before I grabbed the tiniest fine tip permanent marker I could find and began writing those memories along the creases and lines of her shirt and her jewelry and her hair. Here I began working on the details of her face, her neck, her hands with a charcoal pencil. And you'll see me move all around using the pencil and a blending tool and erasers until I get the shading and the details just right. And it's okay to go over the writings that I put on in the beginning because I was looking for a pretty realistic expression of her face and hair. And later I end up typing out all of those memories on a separate piece of paper for myself anyway. Once I had her likeness to my satisfaction, I went ahead and sprayed it with workable fixative so that the charcoal wouldn't smear as I began adding layers and water, etc. And you'll see me play around with collage, not quite sure how I wanted it all to work. Eventually I find a composition that I liked and glued it down with a matte medium gel. Couldn't find a place on the front for that really nice fall leaf that I had been saving to use on this project, so I end up creating a collage on the inside of the card, and later I end up writing a verse on that. I couldn't get that silly stem to glue down, so I broke it off and drew it in with the charcoal pencil. The next step I do here is using a stencil and a palette knife and some texture and paste to create almost a braille type texture of the background of swirliness. And I use pan pastels to create a very soft color and finish to her shirt before moving into the Neo Color water-soluble crayons for the background. I also use some white paint in the background to tie it all together and get it to, you know, the color combo and the mood that I wanted to recreate. This was a very healing part of the project for me, as it made me think of where Grandma Marian is now with her sight fully restored, wondering what she might be seeing and experiencing in heaven. And a finishing touch on the front for the background was to add some spray paint stars, and I added some metallic gold on her wedding band and her bracelets. Thank you so much for joining today. I hope you've enjoyed watching this short video. I hope that it can somehow be a blessing to you no matter what journey you're on today, but especially if you are in the process of grieving a loved one. I hope this has brought some creative idea for how you could continue processing that loss and move towards gratitude for the memories that you have with them, and hope for the future of reuniting with them in a place where all ills have been healed and there are no more tears and no more suffering. Please do stop by hopeandhealingathome.com or over on my Facebook page, Hope and Healing at Home.